Hi, everyone. Heather Williams here with the California AfterSchool Network, and we are here for another Fireside Chat special edition. So, as always, I'm still joined by Michael Funk from the CDE Expanded Learning Division, but our special guests for this special edition are some of our Lights On Afterschool Expanded Learning Leadership Awardees, which is a mouthful, but though these are really important folks that we are celebrating in our field. And so this is the fourth and final one in a series we've been doing this year. We had our Lights On After School kind of celebration back at the close to the end of October, annual Lights On After School celebration, right? Folks celebrate all over the country in all sorts of communities in a lot of different ways. But one of the ways we've been doing that in California for a while now is to celebrate our workforce. And so we recognize emerging and inspiring leaders across the state for the hard work that they are doing to make sure these programs are impactful. So happy to be wrapping up today with two really special guests. And so I will turn it over to them to introduce themselves. So Claudia, I'll start with you.
Thank you, Heather, and thank you for having me. My name is Claudia Medina. I work for Alameda Unified School District. I have been in this role for about 14 years now. At the beginning, supporting with family engagement and slowly adding after-school programs as there was a need for the bridge between both of them in supporting families, especially our working families. I am super committed to this work. I'm excited to be part of this fireside conversation with you, and I'll pass it on to Kaylee.
Thank you, Claudia, and thank you, Heather and Michael. I really appreciate it. My name is Kaylee Bunyea. I am the Expanded Learning Coordinator for the Rim of the World Unified School District. And you're probably thinking, where is Rim of the World Unified? If you think Southern California, San Bernardino, and then you go up in the mountains right above there, you'll find Rim of the World. We're a rural mountain school district, very small, but a lot of heart and a lot of community love up here. It's very small town feel, and that's what I love about it. We are pretty new in the expanded learning world. We only have had an expanded learning program thanks to the ELOP funds for the last a little bit over, just under 2 years. Our ELOP program officially opened in January of 23. We were a little late to the game, but since then we've done nothing but grow. And the need continues to pile high and high, and we are working like crazy to meet that challenge. So I love what I get to do. The students are on fire for expanded learning. The staff is enjoying it, and it's been a fun, wild ride to be here.
Yeah, I remember phone calling both of you and letting you know. Claudia was funny. I met Claudia a couple of years ago at the end of the Boost conference. She was out in front of the hotel and was getting ready to leave, and I was getting ready to leave, and she came up and we chatted and introduced herself, and um, I put her in my phone, Alameda, and then over the next couple of years, I'd randomly call her because I thought I was calling my wife, Claudia. I'd say, "Hey Siri, call Claudia," and then you'd answer.
Sorry, I'm
So,
not sure who's speaking.
so this time when I called, she said, "Hello, Michael. Did you mean to call me or your wife?" That was funny. And I remember chatting with you, Kaylee, you know, the kind of stunned sound of your voice, like this small town, only been in this. Why is Michael Funk calling me? And what's an award? It was just really, really sweet. And I remember when both of you were interviewed during the ceremony by the persons that nominated both of you, I was really touched and moved. So I'm really glad to have the chance to call. And I think I want to go a little bit different direction, Heather, than what I went before, because I'm just sitting here thinking you've got someone who's been in the work 14 years and has, there's been a lot of changes in the last 14 years because that's when I came to CDE was 14 years ago, and Heather joined me about 13 and a half years ago or so, and we've seen a lot of change, and you've been through those ups and downs, and Kaylee, you're green, you're fresh, you're 2 years in, and I remember a very moving story you told about wondering whether you should take on this responsibility, and the encouragement you had from your husband, and the courage that you took to step into something really new, and and you did, and the communities responded in such a fantastic way with growth and opportunity. So I just I just said all that out loud, and I just wonder if you have any insights. Claudia, I'll start with you just about what it means to have been on that journey for the 14 years, and just anything that comes to your heart.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michael. I think I was taking notes as to the changes because you're right, a lot has changed. Just the nature of demographics. At least for Northern California, here I'm leader representing Region 4, which is from San Mateo, San Francisco, Napa, East Bay. And here we are, from ACES to and ELOP now, thanks to all the lobbying, thanks to all the advocacy for after school programs. It took us from serving 4 sites to serving 13 sites. So that in itself is huge. The seed money that comes from that in supporting sites that may have the low income qualification, but not to the extent to qualify for these greater ACES grants, has made a difference of serving between, at least at Alameda Unified, between 400 to now 1,000 families. So it's huge. The impact is tremendous. So that is huge. Second is demographics, also in the East Bay. Changing demographics. We used to have very high ELD, immigrant, SED, you name it, and that has shifted because of the cost of living. And so ELOP is now helping us, balance things out. But it's forced us to be more creative in allowing both families who qualify, but also fee-based. We still have working families that don't meet that low-income criteria, for which they still need the supports. And last, that came to mind was the labor force. When I first started, it was a different demographic of a pool of employees. We went from a generational shift. I felt it immediately after the pandemic, just in the difference in labor demands of today. And rightfully so, our youth today want meaning and purpose identified and defined, which shifts a lot of the conversations we now need to have at the table and how to keep staff really engaged. Because
So let me be clear. So you're saying that as post-pandemic, the workforce, the people that you're hiring for the workforce are wanting more intentionality and purpose and definition of what that means in the work. Is that fair?
it is fair. It is fair. This younger generation,
Interesting.
unfortunately, may not have had those summer jobs to prepare them for this level of employment, right? Or experience coming in at this point, because that's 5 years ago, the pandemic, right? Those are 18, early 20s now in the labor force. Their sense of purpose is very different from pre-pandemic employees who, well, I want my independence. I want to go work. I want to, move out and be on my own. Whereas now this generation is like, well, if I don't like it, I still have my family support and backup until I find something that brings me a lot more joy. So the distinction is real, and it's upon us to really, when we identify vendors or we work with third-party providers in Alameda, that they really do take care of their employees. First is safety, second is student engagement, and third is how do you take care of your employees? That's really important. Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Claudia. Kaylee, just what would you like to share as someone with a very different perspective, and tell us a few stories of some of the things that you've seen grow that have inspired you.
Absolutely. Some things that come to mind. It's been a challenge to change to really bring in what expanded learning is. I think we're still working through changing the mindset of so many people on the mountain that it's more than just childcare. It's more than just after school babysitting. They're learning valuable skills. And the field I was at before I came to expanded learning was mental and behavioral health. I worked in mental and behavioral health for almost 10 years in our schools up here on our mountain, doing social emotional learning, doing the mental health, behavioral health services with these students. So that's the approach I've taken with our program is the importance of trauma-informed care and relationship building and building the resiliency within our students. And I think that's been the biggest takeaway for a lot of our families is these students feel safe, they feel welcomed, and they feel like the staff truly cares about them and their family. And I'm thankful that, I mean, as we've opened, we had students sign up for, 2 or 3 days a week. And now almost every student that signs up wants every single day, 5 days a week, because they can't say no, they want to be here. But it took a lot of growth. I started in July of 2023, and all we had done, all that was done was we have this pot of funding and we have your job description written, and that's all we have. We need you to build this from scratch, from the ground up.
Wow.
Which was, again, I mean, I think they flew my position at least 2 or 3 times before they said, okay, yeah, I think Kaylee's the right person for that. Someone who's willing to take on this challenge. And by January of no, I'm getting my dates wrong. I started in 22. We opened in January of 23. So about 6 months it took to put everything together and open our 3 elementary school after school program, and then summer to follow. So it's been a wild ride. We feel like we've been building the airplane as we're flying it, but something that I've gravitated towards is the ideas and just the feedback from other districts. I reached out to several districts and I had a couple that invited me to come and see what they're doing in expanded learning. I had one shout out to Etowanda Unified School District. They had me come and they said, you don't have any infrastructure in place? And I said, no. And they put me on their Google Drive. Here's all of our forms that we use. Here's every resource we have available. Hurry, quick, download everything before our IT finds you on here and kicks you off, kind of thing. So that was, I just was in tears driving back home from that because it was just this breath of fresh air that, okay, this is a community of people that care, and it's not about, this program versus that program.
Yeah.
We're all here for the students, and that's what I've really come to enjoy. There's definitely challenges for sure. There's demographic challenges in our area. We've had blizzard, we've had fire last year, evacuation. We had a bear at one of our school sites on the first day of school this year. So we have a lot of geographic challenges, but it's been fun. It's been fun.
It's a great story about that district, and talk about a blank slate. You had a blank slate for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it was please start and get this going. We know we'll probably have to pay a penalty because we're late to the game, but the sooner the better. And we have benefited from the rate 2 to rate 1
Good.
change. We are about 62% unduplicated. So when they lowered that threshold to 55%, we're now rate 1, and since July 1st, we've been, okay, let's grow, and meet the needs. And we're expanding to our middle school now. We're expanding the program to more students, offering more programs. So we're just running with it as much as we possibly can. It's hard to keep up, but we're trying.
That is awesome to hear. I know there's a lot of behind the scenes work done, right, in terms of looking at adjusting the tier rates and getting more of our districts in tier one, right? So that Claudia, as you were saying, we can serve working families, right? Not just our unduplicated pupil population is really important, but there's a lot of families that are looking for support, a lot of working families. So it's exciting to see your programs growing, having access to those additional funds and growing. Um, and yeah, the expanded learning is a community that is so amazing and helpful to one another. So I'm glad to hear, Kaylee, like you were quickly brought into that community and getting that support. It is an important network. Um, and I just, whether it's 2 years or 14 years, both of you are really being recognized for your leadership. And this is everybody we've interviewed is very humble. So no doubt you both are humble as well. And yet you are selected for being these inspirational leaders in your community. So would love to hear what leadership lessons you've learned in this role in the past, what you've brought to this with the expansion of expanded learning, with being brand new. We have a lot of folks. There's a lot of folks that have been around a long time, but a lot of folks that are also brand new and have just been, you know, involved for the last year or two, or and so I think we have a wide range, and everyone would love to hear what you've learned, what words of wisdom you have to share. So, Claudia, you want to
Sure,
jump in?
absolutely. I think the number one lesson in leadership for me that I wish to just share with others is relationships. We can speak about, yes, relationships are everything, but I have learned, and I share this with the staff, with team, with everyone, that when you're in relationship with someone where you've had rapport, connection, um, a two-way communication, and you share the highs and the lows, that's a relationship in after school. Is talking to a parent and saying, you know what? Mary had a great day. Johnny had a fantastic day. And oh, a few days later, not so good. What's going on at home? And you build that relationship. And why is that important? Because when we are in relationship, and if we ever make a mistake in this field, because we have that relationship, we are forgiven because they know us better. But if we're not in relationship, we're the worst, meanest people in the world. Because everybody's experiencing, earlier Kaylee spoke of trauma, right? Everybody right now is experiencing some form of macro or microaggressions in the world right now. And so people are on edge, and we need to be in relationship more than ever because it's in community that we heal. And so those relationships are crucial. And I preach that everywhere I go with all of my teams. Get in relationship because it will be the difference between a conversation that will pass and go or de-escalation, which you may not have the training for. So be upfront, be proactive, take a moment. That's all it takes. Sometimes it's just hello. That's my number one.
I love that. Because I wholeheartily agree. Relationships, I'm the person that handwrites every birthday card for all the staff members in ELOP and want to hand deliver them and check in, and it's the relationships, even the relationships with the students too. Especially early on, it was hard to get subs when someone called out because nobody knew what this program was and why would they want to sub for a program they don't know anything about yet. So I was subbing and I'm asking students, well, I'm working on the snack order. What do you want to, what do you want to eat? So building the relationships. Hey, Miss Kaylee, did you order what I asked? And I said, yeah, you picked a healthy choice. We're going to order what you asked. And so I love that relationship building piece. Something that sticks out to me is a lesson that I've learned over the years is just the importance of self-care and filling your own cup so that you can pour out into others. I'm one that I a lot of times carry work with me when I go home, and I worry about the things I need to get done, things that are on my plate. Oh, did I approach that conversation correctly? Should I have said that a different way? And I'm actively still, because it's a work in progress, trying to work on the self-care piece for me so that I am fresh in the morning to go into work and approach and tackle these challenges as they come. Um, I'm still in the middle of raising a family. I have an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old. So I want to make sure that I go home and be present for my family, and then when I'm at work, be the best version of myself that I can at work. And as much of a challenge as it is, try to have that well-rounded balance, work life, home life, rest, self-care, because I think it helps make me a better leader if I approach things that way, as balanced as possible.
You both sound a little bit like people who lead with love
Mm.
for others and yourself. There's a lot of depth to what you're saying, and I just really appreciate that. I wish I could visit you at your programs. I think we've been talking about trying to organize some way to get to all the Lights On Afterschool Awardees sites at some point during the year. It's going to be a stretch, but I just would love to do that. So I want to just something I asked at the start of the other chats with the other awardees was, we gave you a link where you could share the YouTube live streaming link with people that you wanted to see it, people that you care about, people that work with you, and people at your district. So I just wonder what it was like and what it's been like for you. What have others said to you? What kind of recognition have you received and affirmations have you received? Because, and I ask because along the spirit of what you both just said, we work in a field where affirmation is sometimes a little bit thin. And I'm just curious what you experienced.
I You're right. What we do goes it's behind the scenes, right? We are bridge makers. We connect resources and teams, and I consider myself a bridge maker. I'm a broker of information, resources, and capacity. I was really surprised that our assistant superintendent shared that out with our employee newsletter. I was really humbled. And immediately my first reaction when I saw that is I replied and I copied all the people that have made this possible. Because no champion succeeds alone. I'm a party of one, but around me are 10 people that hold me. And so that was pretty meaningful, because I can't do this alone. And so I made sure that I thanked from, our food services team to our accounting teams to our facilities teams. I needed them to also know that I do bring value. But because they all do the same,
Yeah.
I just wanted to share this recognition because it's shared. It's not just me.
Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, when I first got that call from you, Michael, again, small district, why would you pick me? I feel like we're still like hitting the ground running and we have so many more ideas and things to build. So I was a little bit caught off guard. I did share it, I shared the link with our cabinet and with my site teams. And I know several of them that watched, my family that watched, my husband watched. Um, those that couldn't watch in the moment were able to watch it back later. And yeah, I received um, a lot of praise. And again, it's still sometimes hard for me to accept that because I'm like, well, it's a team. I mean, I couldn't have done it without so many people that helped, especially in such a small district. So many people wear so many different hats. Everybody is busy because they're having to fill multiple roles because in larger districts, one person does that, but in our smaller district, multiple people do that same job, or they're doing multiple jobs together. Um, so again, it was hard for me to share it, but I tried to push myself and do that and take the compliments as they came. It was shared out to district wide in our newsletter. It was shared in our leadership meeting, district leadership meeting with amongst all the admin and the superintendent, assistant superintendent. So it was humbling, and I'm grateful. I'm so grateful to receive this honor. I told one of our sites, one of my site leads at our smallest school, and she goes, "Really? They found us? They picked us?" And I said, "Yes, they did." And appraising her, they only did this because, you guys are building these relationships with these kids and making it a place where students want to be here. And it really, they're the heart of the program. I just get to be the glue that holds everybody together. Um, so yeah, it's been a wild ride. I had a secretary came up to me and she said, sometimes I hear about people getting awards and I kind of shake my head like, why would they get an award? But she goes, I didn't have that thought about you. I'm like, yeah, of course she deserves a award. That was a
Great.
very kind compliment to get. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know about just the glue. They're the heart, I'm the glue. It seems like there's a lot of heart coming through in this conversation. And and you both have built teams. You both talked about relationships. Kaylee, you've started from a blank slate without any idea what to do. And even just the way you approached this other district, what was the name of the district again?
Etowanda.
Etowanda. So Etowanda would have been helpful if you wouldn't have been kind and generous and transparent about your vision and kid centered. That's why that's why they wanted to help you. And so, yeah. Well, Heather, take us home.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, Kaylee, I actually know exactly where Rim of the World is because I grew up in the desert on the other side of the mountain. And so I've been there many times. So I'm glad to see some of our lesser known communities, right? Not California is vast, and so this is also like a really wonderful opportunity to understand like the vastness of California, and the different communities and diversity we have here. It's exciting. So I'm glad we get to have, right, like the two of you are a good representation of how much diversity we have in California. So um, yeah, I just want to thank you both. We have really enjoyed getting to talk with and getting to know you all better. The Lights On award ceremony is always a really like special time of the year. It's great to hear about what you're doing, but the fireside chats just allow us a extra level of getting to know you even more, and it becoming even more obvious why you were each selected as leaders. And so much appreciation to you and your staff and your communities. Thank you for all that you are doing. It means a lot to all of us. So
Mhm.
big thank you from me. And yeah, I'll pass it over to Michael for the last words.
This conversation today has been inspiring for me. It's been touching for me. It's the why. I mean, it's it's the way that we do this. And this goes out across the state of California, but it goes out across the country. There's people that watch this, and so this will be another opportunity for people to know some of the depth and the layers and what's behind you as people and your purpose. And um, so get ready for some more feedback.
Actually, Michael, with that, can I just add something? I don't want to be the last word, but I think it's, when I think of our incoming class, transitional kindergarten right now, and then being the class of 2037, 2038, when we think of progress and change, right, as we started this conversation, I think it's really important for us to address, well, what will be the jobs or what will be the skills of this transitional kindergartner coming in right now? In 2038, actually, class of 38 in 12 years, we have to think about what are the skills that will be necessary. And as I did research, we know that AI is going to take about 30 to 40% of jobs between now and then, actually within the next 5 years, is the importance of creativity, adaptability, human skills, human soft skills of adapting, of being kind. I think it's important for us to put that out there in the world.
Yeah. Yes. And not only what jobs, but what else is going to be going on in the world in 12 years. So,
Exactly.
well, it's always a privilege to be able to host this with you, Heather, and to host it with our friends and our leaders. Thank you for all you do. And let's keep the lights on after school.
Always. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.